Hey folks, how are you? It's Simon here. Welcome to Sunday morning, or whatever kind of morning or afternoon or evening, wherever it is, wherever you are. Today we are going to cover two Patreon questions that I had from my patrons. Now you can check out my Patreon page at www.patreon.com/Simon Morel. Now the questions that we had were, number one, from Dave. He said, I do wonder if you have any transcriptions on an old Savoy Brown tune, I'm Tired. Kim Simmons recently passed away, so sad. And that is a tune with some nice guitar work, especially the lead work around 140. So we're going to have a little bit of a chat about that. And my other patron, another patron of mine, Michael, asked, Paul Kelly has just released a version of Light on the Hill, a song by Casey Bennetto from the show Keating the Musical. Can you please do a lesson and or chart of the song? Michael has been a Patreon of mine for almost 3 years. Really appreciate your support, Michael. Thank you for everything. I really do appreciate it. And Dave has actually been a Patreon for a little while. He's had a few dramas in his life, but I thought we'd check out the Savoy Brown tune first. Now, what I thought we would do, instead of me just going, okay, this is how it goes, which is typically what I would do in a sort of recorded format, what I thought I would try and do is kind of show you how I would learn it if I was learning it. So I did have a bit of a listen to both of them before we started, but I actually haven't really written the chords out for the Paul Kelly song, which we'll get to second. I had a bit of a listen to the Savoy Brown lead, but I just wanted to kind of see you experience how I would learn something like that. And hopefully, instead of just giving you all the fish, it'll help you to fish for yourself. So I really would love it if you could load up that Savoy Brown tune, I'm Tired, in your own YouTube, maybe another browser window. That would be really awesome, and it would help me out a lot. So if you check out I've actually put the link in the description here on the video. So just click down into the description, and it'll have Dave's question and Michael's question. So just click on that at the same time that we're here, and have a bit of maybe you just sort of check it out if you're not familiar with this Savoy Brown tune first. So if you're watching in replay, maybe you could pause this and then listen to that. So the first thing I noticed is that the chords, and then it goes to A. And that's kind of the vibe of the whole song. So you get this 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Now, how did I get there? I guess the sound of those chords, E and A, pretty in my brain. And then you could hear that there was a something I often actually do with the tunes that I listen to. I generally try and kind of sing along and get the tune in my head a little bit, because I find being able to translate it from my head onto the guitar is super, super helpful, instead of just trying to kind of be dissociated from the music. I know this sounds like a bit new world, new age or whatever, but I think the more of you that's in the music, the easier it is to learn the music, if you know what I mean. So this riff, you can hear it going ba ba da da ba 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 on the tune, right? Now, and then there's this ba 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 ba, and when you hear it, it's na na. There's something a bit funky about the sound. It's not like anything in E major. So. And it's kind of bluesy. And so your automatic thing when you hear that, it should be like, this is bluesy. What's bluesy? A dominant 7 chord is bluesy, right? That should be kind of your way of thinking. You know, like, I'm all for the sort of street theory end of the market instead of like big, heavy, dusty books. And so what chord do you know that's like, right? So it's E, dominant 7, off, and then we have an A, and then again it sounds weird, right? that country sort of blues sound. Yeah, so you get 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, okay? All right, so that basically is the tune. Now, our sort of focus really here is not the chords so much, but the lead guitar part from 1 minute 40 in the tune. Now, something I just want to show you, which is super, super awesome. If you go to the video, what you'll see is this settings wheel, and this is possibly maybe the best thing on YouTube, apart from obviously my channel, which is amazing, and that's a joke. So we are going to go playback speed, and what you can do is you can actually go half speed. Now, it nips along, and it's quite hard to hear. I always have slowed things down as long as I've been able to. I used to use a program called Audacity to record things and then slow them down and just be able to tab them out. But now you can do it directly in YouTube. It's absolutely unbelievable. Now, no doubt this will get me a copyright strike by playing this at the same time as having the thing. Hopefully it will come through okay. But I thought maybe we should have a listen to the actual tune, right? So, but slowly, and basically pick out the phrases, because this is exactly how we're going to learn stuff. You basically hear the phrase, write it down. Hear the phrase, write it down. Okay, so this is slow, right? Okay, so I don't know if you heard that. Let me know in the comments if you could hear that through clearly or not. I've never done this before, so just try, I guess. You could hear it's the same as the thing, right? And then what you're going to do is play that 4 times. So you've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Thanks, Michael, for letting me know. So that's the intro. It plays that 4 times. So let's just move on. Let me just share that again. Let's go in here. Savoy Brown. Share. So then we've got to figure out where that is in the bar. And I'm not going to go into the super detail of it, but I will write it down for you, Dave, and you know, send it over. I'll actually attach it to the chart, to the video of this live stream in Patreon, so you can access the chart. So now, next. Okay, let's stop it there. Now, something that I'm always telling people when I teach people privately and we're learning how to improvise is, if you've played something cool, play it again, right? And having listened to this this cool solo, this is exactly what is done on the record. He plays a thing. Because your ear likes repetition. If you've just got a whole bunch of random notes, you know, that doesn't really help you out. You think of all the famous guitar solos, they all do it. Down, 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 whatever it is. So the chords E and A. So we're kind of in that sort of bluesy zone, right? And bow, 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 wow, bow, little ow. That's what we've got next, right? Bow, wow, bow, little ow. So, what's that note? Bow, wow. So it doesn't really sound very pentatonic-y, you know? Cat visits. You're going to want to let in, don't you? Live on the internet. Smokey the cat. Go on, cat face. Okay, so it didn't really sound very pentatonic-y, you know what I mean? Like, right? It sounded a bit more major scaly, a little bit, yeah? And it sounded like a kind of interesting note, but it was bending, right? So, you know. You hear that? Let's put a bit of overdrive on. Oh, by the way, the sound there, he's doing the sort of Clapton thing there. So, bit of overdrive. I'm on the neck pickup. The tone rolled all the way back. So, that's what it sounds like to me. So, I've got an F sharp. I'm bending up to G. And then pull off to 5 and back. So, down, down, little down. Right, so. Okay, and then there was something in the middle. So, you know, later if you want to check it out, I'll let you go back to it. Otherwise, we'll be here all day. So, it just sounds like that kind of A majory sound to me, because I've learned loads of these things. But how you might be able to get it, and then you can hear that it sounds major, right, instead of minor, right? So from A major, right? And if you're there already, like if you've learned that scale pattern, it's just going to come naturally. So. Right, and then the next bit hits a B on the top there. So let's go back to the record. I know, sad, isn't it? So right, and then he hits that. Now you can hear that's a slide, right? You're going nah. So just use your, you know, ear to now the chord of E, and it sounds like an E. So we've got and then okay. So what we've learned so far is that it plays the first riff 4 times, and then same thing kind of twice, and then right. So we're already about halfway through the solo, and he's really cleverly setting up kind of a busier bit, because you don't want to give all your tricks away at the beginning of your solo, right? You don't want to be like straight away, you know, just start off slowly, build into it. Okay, so where are we here? So let's go back to the thing. We'll listen to the busy part. So, and right now, here's the E, and then so ba-da-long, da-da-long, da-da-long, bow. And again, it doesn't sound like it's in sort of E minor pentatonic or a pentatonic kind of thing. It sounds more majory again. Now, there's an A, right? Here's also an A here. It's a D shape chord, right? So you can kind of hear that is the riff, right? So how I worked that out is I knew that it was A. So I'm thinking this is an A. There's a D, C sharp. Here's the B, and then goes does that little riff twice or something like that, and then lands on E, right? All right, next part. Now, okay, so we've got bow, wow, wow. So again, it sounds almost out, you know. So ow, ow, but it sounds higher up the neck, right? So what note could that be? No. Ow, ow. What thing have you done like a million times in your guitar playing live? Yeah. So we're major minor again, right? So I hit an E here, no, sorry, B, then it bends and holds, right? So you get this. Okay, makes sense? So let's have a listen to that. Ba-da-wow, and it's a bend. Da-da-wow. So da-da. So you can kind of hear it's in the, you know, this zone, right? Because it's been playing the, just an octave up. All right. Now, this is the busy part. So he's been building the whole time to get here. All right. So let's just have a listen at through the whole thing. Repetition. All right, so you can hear the ba ba da ba 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 da ba 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 da ba wow wow ba ba down bow down. Now, so the trick is to listen to these things a bunch of times before you even try and attempting to actually tab it out, right? So that whole line effectively is when we come out of the, and then it went da, 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 ba, da, da, right? Da, 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 one E and sorry, one E and a two. Da, 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 and then there was a bend. And then we get into the bit that went da da ba ba bam ba da da ba bam ba da bam bam bow wow wow, which is his kind of the top of his solo, if you like. So, and you can hear it goes from minor to major, like that, from G to G sharp. So da, da, da. So we've got G sharp, 12, 13, 12, 14, 12, 12. So right, doing a little hammer on. And then the kind of repetition is a bit like a sort of schoolyardy kind of thing. Na 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 na. So that right? So you get that. The first one is 12, 13, 12, 14, 12, 12. And then the second one is the last one. Okay, that kind of makes sense. And then that final riff, which we haven't listened to yet. So let's actually listen to it first. Last riff here. Bow da ba ba down bow. bow, da ba ba dow, bow is what it is, right? Now, it's just more of a standard sort of bluesy thing. Right? So you can, like, I guess I've learned loads of these. Let's just switch the share off. I've learned loads of these sorts of tunes. So basically, it, you know, they come easier the more you learn them, right? Oops. Right, makes sense. Let's just switch that off there. So is what is happening. Okay, so that whole thing, and again, I haven't really learned how to play it. I've just kind of roughly worked it out. What I typically would do now is I would then kind of go and practice it over and over and over again, write it down, all that sort of stuff. I'll write it down later. And like I say, I'll attach it to the post at Patreon. So we've got and they can actually ring over each other. Right? And then the second riff, which is to slide into the 6. 2 and 3 and 4 and then get busier. Didn't. Right? And so that's basically what there is. I'll finish it up sort of later, but you can kind of see, hopefully, how I got there, right? Okay, now the next tune that we are going to look at is going to be the Paul Kelly tune. This Paul Kelly tune, a tune that is new to me. It's from Keating the Musical. I haven't listened to it that much yet, but what we do have is this, a blank piece of paper, which is always exciting, right? The possibilities, endless. All right, so let's see how we go here. I think the, let's just switch that Savoy Brown thing off. My internet is struggling with the amount of stuff I've got open. So let's just switch that off. Okay, so blank piece of paper. When I'm trying to learn chords of tunes, the most important thing I think generally is just try and figure out what key you're in, right? So let's have a listen here. So Kelly, what are you going to get? Oh, it's not happening. That's annoying. Come on, internet, you can do it. Let's maybe just reload that tab. From memory, when I listened to it this morning, as that struggles to load, oh, that's so annoying, isn't it? We had like a kind of almost like a country style tune. And it had some chords which didn't belong to the key, which I was hoping to point out to you. Let's try it again. Ba-da-bum-bum-bum, see, now it's in my head. Let me switch more of these tabs off so it can actually load. That's a real shame. It was working so well, right? I don't know what to do now. Oh, it's saying it can't be reached. Okay. Maybe we'll have to do this another time, this one. That's kind of frustrating, isn't it? So I had it in my head that it was this kind of country thing. Now, something I can tell you about the song before I work it out is that if your first chord of the song is C, and it feels like, and it's going to be the last chord of the song, the awesome thing about that is that it means that, you know, your song is going to be in C. Oh, that's a good idea. Let's do something a bit random. Let me just switch that off and go here on the mobile, right? It will work. I'll hold it next to the microphone. We'll be fine. Light on the hill, Paul Kelly. Thanks again to the NBN for being here. Right, here we go.
Counting up the votes across Australia, counting down seconds of my years.
Now, I'm going to stop it there. You can hear that there's nothing out of key. We're counting the votes in South Australia, right? Na, 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 na. Sounds minor. Now, in the key of C major, which we figured out that we were in, we've got the chords C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, B diminished, and C. It's not a diminished chord. Doesn't sound like a major chord. So we've got three choices. It can either be D minor, E minor, A minor. La la la, da da la la. Sounds miles away from C. All right, down. So C and A minor are quite close. South Australia. That doesn't feel right, right? So let's have a think about what other it could be. It can be either D minor or E minor. Going down floats in South Australia. Nah. Going down floats in South Australia. Hey, presto. All right. So what we would do on our chart is we would write down C, E minor. So let's get that. C, C. We had two bars of C at the beginning, and then we had C to E. Right? Now we've got two more bars to figure out. So let's so random with the phone. I'm really sorry about this. Let's go like that. Okay, so
Seconds of my years.
Right, so now it sounded like it went up and it sounded major. We've already used C, not going to go back to C. So what could it be? Well, in the key of C, we've got C, F, and G. Let's try an F. And it feels like it resolves, right? So that first line, effectively, is C, E, F, C. And you see, I've worked it out, not by being super clever or anything, but just knowing some basic theory things, like knowing the chords of the key, knowing the key of the song. Right, now, next part here. Let's have a listen.
Quite a few elections. I know how to read projections. I can recognize change when it appears.
Ooh. So that second line, there's some two chords that don't sound quite in. So now it sounds like it went up. Now, if it was in key, la, 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 it's not quite right, is it? That's right. La, 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 da, da. And then there's a key, there's a song, there's a chord that's really, really out. You hit G sharp. So he sung that note, right? So G sharp is not a note in C major. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C is in C major. So we've got to try and see what chords it could be. So often what I would do in this situation, I would listen to the bass guitar. Okay, I'm back. Maybe you're not here anymore, though, everybody. I guess we'll find out what happened. Looks like we'll find out what happened. Let's just put a note on my Patreon to tell you guys, if you were there, that I'm back. Oh, there's 2 people here watching. So I am back. Let's just go to Patreon. Michael looks like Turnbull's useless NBN has frozen. Yes, even though we pay as much possibly as I can to get good internet around here, it can be tricky. So, Patreon. Let's message Michael, because I'm learning this for you, Michael. Back on. Okay, all right, let's see what happens. So I don't know how it will go with the saving of this thing or whatever, but anyway. So we've got C in South Australia. And then it went We got to this D chord, right? So what I generally would do is I would try and think of hearing the bass now, and then thinking of what notes kind of go with those in sort of relatively regular chords. So because we're in the key of C here, it could be an E major because that's got a G sharp in it. Could be an F minor because that's got a sort of A flat / G sharp, same note in it. Could be a diminished chord. Doesn't really sound that scary. Does sound like a minor chord though, right? Right? So I'm going to go for F minor. So let's write that down on our chart here. So we've got F, C, D, and then F minor. Okay. So let's listen to a little bit more now. I actually have the tune up now. So
They're counting up the votes across Australia.
E minor.
And counting down seconds of my
and then
years.
resolves. And then goes back up.
I've seen quite a few elections.
And then back down.
I know how to read
And then
projections.
this weird chord.
I can recognize the change when it appears.
The wonderful thing is that the piano is really pulling the chords together. So if you listen to the piano here, we'll use our special thing again.
Projections. I can recognize.
Doodaloo. Here. Doodaloo. It kind of like played like a that kind of thing, which is a D, right?
The change when it appears. People may.
So and then the slide guitar played G sharp. So it's kind of working around the key. So like that, G sharp, B flat, so A flat, B flat. You know, so you can hear that chord must be out of key if it's in C major, right? Okay, so let's listen to a little bit more.
The ultimate
A bit quicker.
decision. The system says they always get it right.
Now it's changed. Often what happens if you have an 8-bar sort of section, you just repeat, right? Because, you know, here we go. That's how it goes. But this is written, obviously, I remember you told me who it was written by, Michael. And it's from Keating the Musical, which I really should go and see. I hear it's excellent.
The people make the ultimate decision.
E minor.
The system says they always get it right.
So to me, it sounds like a major chord there. And there's that note again. E major. All right. So let's write that down. So what will we have? We had C and E minor, like the first 2 bars of the verse. And then I think we had an F and then E major. So you're still doing this sort of alternate picking thing where you're...
So though it seems like half an hour since I stumbled into power, now it's time for me to say goodnight.
Cool. So I'm very familiar with the sound of C to A minor. A minor is a relative minor of C major. So there's going to be absolutely loads of songs with C and then E minor in there, right? It's going to happen all the time. Right? You know, like... things like that, you know. So we've got C. Now, then those 2 chords in this little next bit, there was 2 chords in 1 bar, right?
So though it seems like half an hour since I stumbled into power,
Chord 1.
now it's time for
2.
me to say goodnight.
Next bar, right? And to me, like, I'm locked into the sound of bars 7 and 8 where it went, and so it sounds like the same thing to me. So So let's write those down whilst we listen to the next little part.
Now it's time for me to say goodnight. But still I dream of a country rich and clever, with compassion and endeavor, reaching out towards forever. And I'm still dreaming of a light on the hill. You start off in
So this is
still I. Now it's time for me to say goodnight.
Now, then it's
Still I dream of a country rich and
sounds really like jazz hands. Still I dream. So we were just finished in singing I dream, you know. So yes, I dream. There it is. So it's an F. Sorry, excuse my singing, by the way. I'm not a singer. So, but I find like when I sing like that, I find it helps to get the chords into my head a little bit, right? This is how I learned the guitar. I didn't really have guitar lessons when I was learning. I just had to figure out by dropping the needle, picking up the needle, dropping the needle, picking up the needle. A bit like this, except YouTube's awesome because you can also slow it down. Right, so I dream, and then we've got and then it does the same thing a few times. You can hear that.
clever, with compassion and endeavor, reaching out towards forever. And I'm still.
Okay, so let's write chorus. So we've got an F, and then the na-na-na-na-na, two chords in each bar, right? Same two chords. It's a B flat. How do I know that's a B flat? Just sounded like one to me. It's like a bit of a lift, if you see what I mean, because you're going from and that dream. It's almost like this song changes key a little. In the key of F major, you know, the major chords are F. You got F major, G minor, A minor, B flat major, C major, right? So it's like this sort of lift. Just feels like that. So it was B flat to F in each bar, and then we did that two more times. Let's ditto that, and we'll write a little note about the lyric in there later. Now, I always write a note about the lyric just to kind of remind you where I am. Like, so I haven't really heard this song before, and if I was teaching this to somebody, then I would write notes on the lyrics so that I knew where I was in the song all the time, if I'm not very familiar with the song.
Dreaming of the light on the hill.
And then that sounds like a C, that third chord there. So, now that F to this chord where we're going to talk about sounds like a relative minor switch again, you know, because I picked that C to A minor thing pretty easily because it's a very common switch. So in the key of F major, the relative minor is D minor. I bet it's a D minor.
Reaching out towards forever, and I'm still dreaming of the light.
Dreaming of the light, dreaming of the light, dreaming of the light on the sea. Okay, so then we've got D minor, A minor, and then G, and then the hill, C. Now, then it's going to come back into the verse, I'm assuming.
On the hill. You start off in your low.
Okay. So what I would do there is just simply write a repeat, because it goes from C, and then it starts the verse again, and you've got C, okay?
Council chambers. You fight and dream.
Make sure
you
it's
reach
plain.
your prime.
C, F,
And if you should succeed, by the time you get to leave,
okay.
you're pretty much exhausted from the climb.
Beautiful.
You only get a moment in the penthouse before you find you're standing on the sill. And if you're sunk in ham and gammon, when it turns from feast to famine, and you're lucky if you've had your fill. But still I dream, heads are high, hearts are heavy, eyes are bright and near and steady for the promise that we're ready to fulfill. I'm dreaming of the light on the hill.
Oh. Now that would wow. So it tells me that something's going to happen. So that would be like a first time ending, second time ending thing. So how we usually write that is that because it was C to no, yeah, G. So in here,
that we're ready to fulfill. I'm dreaming of the light on the hill.
C. Wow. Right? That's a G. Okay. So how it looks now is, let me just show you here. So, so we've got those two bars, 2 bars of intro, and then we've got C, E minor, F, C, right? Then we go all the way through the chart. We get to this bar the first time round. And remember I said it just repeated the verse. So it goes from here back. I can't do it back to front. How daft. C, E minor, then go all the way through the verse. And then in the chorus here, we hit that now. It's what I've written here is second time ending, right? So you've done that. So it's like you do that already. So you don't do it a second time. And when you get here to the second one, you go D minor, A, G, and then switch into the C, and then the G. And now we've got a new bit that we don't know how it goes yet. So let's see what happens. Okay. I hope this is useful, by the way. You know, I've never done anything like this. So sort of pressure situation, to be honest. Anyway. Ah, what did you notice about that? Let's have that again. Answers on a postcard. Do you hear anything like weird about that? Think of the thing we're doing as a D minor. Anybody? Key change. Okay, so let's check out this key change.
I'm dreaming of the light on the hill.
Ooh, so the thing you can tell is that it's gone up, and here's the note. Okay, so the notes that it's hitting are F sharp, E, F sharp, G, F sharp, E, D, F sharp. Right now, so if you know something about chords, and you know a D major chord has got D, so F sharp, D, and A there. And you know, you listen to it. It's a bit like the Savoy Brown thing that we were just doing, right? You play the same line twice because it makes it memorable, right? So, what chord is it going to be if you're basically using 2 of the notes from a D major chord? It's probably going to be a D major.
I'm dreaming of the light on the hill.
And it's doing the same thing that we had before. Is it? Yeah, it's doing the same sort of thing. So it's going from D, so the solo, is going from D and then G, D. And doing it a bunch of times exactly like it did in the chorus, right? And you can hear there a minor chord, right? So in the key of D that we are now, we've got E minor, F sharp minor, then G major, A minor, B minor. B minor chord, right? So right? So let's write that in, those two. And then we've got B minor. And right, so you can hear those last few notes in there. They didn't sound as sort of clean and matchy as hard. I'm dreaming of the slow down. Okay, so it's what's helpful here actually is the lead guitar, the slide guitar part plays the no, those two notes, right? Which is awesome for us because low, F sharp and E. So maybe major. Yeah. And then it goes ha, ha. Yeah, so this is where it changes probably back into maybe the original key. So A and G. So I wonder if it goes like in the chorus, the tag in the chorus, right? So I reckon we've got a bar of F sharp, oh no, half a bar, I think it maybe half a sharp, and then that, and then A minor, and then G. Let's see what happens after this. Share, pick up the record. Okay, so we're on here. Here we are. Okay, so let's just put it at 75.
They're counting up the votes
Quiet verse.
across Australia.
And chords, hopefully. I think I like it.
This time seems the verdict is severe. Swan McEwen, Fadden Dixon, Bass and Patterson and Kingston.
And it goes up to the D major.
But it's Oxford with a message loud and clear.
C major.
Bring us back our comfy, bloody country. Take us back to simple days of yore. Nothing alien or scary, la-di-da, air and fairy. Just put it back the way it was before. But still I dream that the stars will be aligned as our fates are intertwined, till every heart is shining with goodwill, shining like a light. shining like a light on the hill.
Okay, so
Intertwined.
that is like quite a well-established songwriting thing that just happened there. When it went, what did it do? It went. Right. See what he just repeated the same line. Loads of songs do that. Fly Me to the Moon. In other words, I love you. The bit at the end of Blackbird that goes, yeah, Blackbird. You were only waiting for the moment to arise. You were only waiting for the moment to arise. You were only waiting for the moment to arise. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. Does the same here. So what happened? We went from the end of the solo, then it went to the verse. So what we would do is we would use a little bit of road furniture, sneaky road furniture, to go DS Al coda, which basically means go to the sign until I tell you to go to the coda. So let's write to coda here. And this is going to be coda. And so the coda basically is the bit at the end of the song. That is going to be the chorus basically. So we're going to have F and then B flat to F. We've got that a few times. Exactly like we did before, in fact. So that's D minor, A minor, G, and then it did it again, didn't it? It did D minor, like the tag thing, A minor, G, C major. And that's the end of the song. We've got all the right instructions. Let's write the title at the top of the thing. Paul Kelly, Light on the Hill. Okay, so from this terrifying white piece of paper, we now have a little chart. Okay, so that is how I would work out a song. Actually, that one was not a super easy one. Often the chords will all be in key. So what if you, let me think of one that's good. Okay, so I would like you to, if you've got a bit of time this morning or whatever, have a go at learning Let It Be by the Beatles. That is in C. Now, remember what I told you before. The chords are in C major, are C, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, B diminished, and C. Right? B diminished, it's not going to be that. Okay, give you a hint, right? But just have a listen and sort of try and identify the bass as you come around the chords, and then kind of go, oh, well, that sounds like a G, so it could be a G next or whatever it's going to be. And then just try and have a go at doing exactly like what we just did here with Let It Be. I think that would be awesome because that's not a super tricky one to get the hang of. All right. So thanks very much for watching. I'm sorry about that stuff up in the middle. That was very irritating, wasn't it? I will edit together this video. We've ended up going for an hour when I said I was going to go for about 20 minutes. So that's awesome. If you would like to support the channel and support my work here in the land of music, go to patreon.com/Simon Morel. There you can get a whole bunch of things from the basically getting a chart for every single YouTube video that I publish, all the way to getting access to all of the charts I've ever written, which are now about 3,200 charts I've written for songs, popular songs around the world, all sorts of things from Paul Kelly to Savoy Brown. Thanks so much for watching and for being a Patreon. I do apologize about that gap, but I will see you next time. I reckon an hour is probably enough for a Sunday morning. I'm going to go and have a cup of coffee and maybe watch some of the soccer from last night. Thanks so much. I will see you again. All the best. Bye for now.